Every time I'm in the street, I hear no.
Man down! Where you from? All right, let's go.
Welcome to episode 33 of A Dose of Sinsanity. I am GR3. I am joined by Welshie and Jamokin. How we doing today, fellas?
I'm doing great. You guys have been going through some stuff.
Swamped.
Yeah.
Swamped.
Living the dream.
What else could be the dream other than being swamped of work every single fucking day with zero pay?
Some could say nails on a chalkboard.
Man.
Some might say anything else.
Gotta love it. Just really hope that maybe at one point we'll make $1.
Here's hoping. So
Make
for anybody who is living under a rock, I'm not aware, the PSGS tournament is going on, and I'm sitting with the two admins of the whole tournament.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
You should be thrilled and honored.
I truly feel it. I truly feel an honor
we're
sitting here today with the big times, the big time tier 4 organizers, Jamokin and Griar.
You want to retry my name?
No, I said it that way.
Griar.
Is it Guiar? Is it Geere?
Is it
GG3R3? Is it G3PO?
How is your name? Bitch?
Yeah, fair enough. All right, calm down there, G3PO. Now let's go. So PSGS Invitationals, we are pretty set into it. So at what point would you say we're like, how percentage way would you say we're through the tournament at this point? Because we've been through opens, right?
2/3 of the way, I guess. I mean, we're in our third stage now, and we start with the opens, and then we just finish up with the groups on Monday.
So I'm with it. So let's do a little bit of like in the weeds here, but let's first go over. So let's talk about opens for a minute. So I want to hear from both of you. What was your, let's go best worst memories of like opens.
Can I start with my opens experience first?
Yeah, let's just do the opens experience.
Oh man, my opens experience, whew, it was a challenging time for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't even there. I wasn't even there.
Everything that could go wrong went wrong.
In the eternal words of Greco, what happened?
Yeah, I just remember sitting there at work, right, and I'm like, I think it was a wrestling meet or something, and Jamokin's just like texting or like messaging. He's like, "Fuck this." It's like everything's happening, and I'm just sitting at work like, "Sorry, buddy, I can't help you. Like, I have no access to a computer to help you." But it was a great experience for me to dodge that entire day.
It wasn't it wasn't just that you dodged.
No, that is true.
On the back end, everything that could go wrong clearly went wrong. We didn't have lobby admins. Casters were gone. It was a nightmare. We are like T-minus 10 minutes. A team saying they can't find a replacement 5 minutes before because someone can't join. Teams they're going to be like, we can't play. And I'm like, this is a disaster. We're trying to help people find stand-ins and get a lobby admin and find casters because I know people wanted the games casted.
You got to understand, like, these guys pay, like, to get into this tournament. The only ones who don't pay are our direct invites. So when they're paying to go through these opens, we feel like our jobs as tournament organizers, we need to provide games. And the first initial thing that we wanted to do, because we only had 6 teams go through our open qualifiers, was, well, technically, based on the way things work, is our 1 and 2 seed would get buys. We're like, well, if they want to play each other, let's go ahead and put a game together. They can play. That way they have like a little exhibition match. Doesn't mean anything, but at least they get a game, right? Mm-hmm. They did pay. They get a game. They get to go through opens, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. And then we still have our 2 matchups that matter. And one of the things Jamokin is referring to is last minute, our exhibition match just collapsed. Like last minute, and like a team just couldn't go, and like to us it's like there's worse things that could happen, right? Like at least this game didn't really matter. It sucks. We wanted to, like, we had this information out, like people wanted to watch them.
There was a match to watch. I mean, it's just like, even if it's a small boxing match, you're getting canceled, it sucks, right? There's people who have interest in it.
it's your first look into who's going to actually be in the tournament. And these two teams, they're going to be on opposite sides in the separate groups, so they're not going to play each other in the group stage at all. So it would be a really good, like, okay, here's like a showcase of two teams that are going to be here. And then the other ones, of course, you got like these these teams are going to fight it out to see who actually gets the opportunity to go in.
Mm.
But there's, like Jim was saying, like we had lobby admins cancel last minute, we had casters cancel last minute, and these are things that like no one sees, and is a real struggle, especially when it's last minute. Like try to like I don't know how many casters you think you know, but when the Valkyrie Cup's going on at the same time,
oh god,
cut that by like half, and even half that of who's even available, and it was a lot.
I mean, it sounds like it. I mean, no tournament goes perfect, right? TI doesn't run like a perfectly smooth machine. But nice. I think that maybe
grand final stream shuts down. We got that to look forward to. Hopefully not.
Oh yeah. I mean, but overall, I would say that you guys. I mean, it seems like you guys have been doing a good job of keeping things still seeming smooth, at least on the surface. And no one can expect that much to go wrong, even if chaos theory is that what can go wrong will go wrong. But let's also try to bring the energy up. Let's try to make sure that people have a good impression of this tournament. Let's talk about your favorite moments so far in the tournament let's talk about favorite moment of group phase. Of opens.
Oh man.
Any favorite matches, favorite plays?
First 3 games, we were talking about this a lot. Of Royal Star. Let's fucking go. Like that's one of my two moments I was really excited about. Royal Star has a 5.8k I think it's 5.8, maybe 5.6. K carry, Matador. And this dude is a beast.
Yeah, you were talking about him earlier.
It's hard to say, like, first off, like for those who are listening or maybe new and all that stuff, I'm a Legend 4 player. Like, I peaked at Ancient 4. Very, very far away from 5.6 and gauging what that actually looks like. But you can tell like some of the 5.6 players are playing in this tournament, and then when they're going up against a lot of 7Ks and 8Ks, and this dude, like in his first 3 matches, I think had something like a 96 or 98 KDA. Like in his first 3 matches. Unbelievable.
Jeez. And just to bring up a real quick question about that, so just to make sure, there is no MMR cap for the PSGS tournament, correct?
Correct. The only stipulation this time around was no DPC players. That was the only thing.
I got you. I only asked this because this means that Matador isn't smurfing. He's playing on his main. There's no reason to smurf in this tournament. He's just better. He's just
smurfing actually hurts you in this, because then you get like matched up against worse matchups and like harder matchups because it fucks around with the MMR numbers. Like there's no reason to give us a smurf.
That's fair.
And like there's no benefit rather that you can get from it.
No, I got you.
So Matador we do MMR checks and all that stuff, and like they got to play on the account. So we do 100 behind the scene things to make sure that this is as fair as possible. And group stages, like groups can be unbalanced. So you want to do everything you can to make sure that they're balanced in any way, shape, or form, like so that you're not throwing the tournament for specific like groups.
Yeah.
But just a ton of like stuff. But yeah, I just watching this guy play in the first 3 matches, I was just locked on him. And like when you're being a lobby admin and you're locked into the games and watching them and making sure that all the rules are being followed and keeping track of pausing and all that stuff and being there for any questions, you kind of get lost in the sauce sometimes because you start, I mean, you want to watch the games too. Like,
of course.
It's fun. Like, it's fun to watch these games. And I'm just locked on Matador. And I'm just like, okay, who's going to fucking kill this guy? And because I haven't seen it in 3 games and I can't wait. And I think when he died twice in game 4 against, or would have been game 2 against whatever, but their 4th game, I was like, they fucking did it. And it was like they killed him again when he came back to lane. And I was like, this KDA's fucked. And I was next person.
But I think you told me he died like once. I don't want to
play with you anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to watch you anymore.
I'm not a fanboy anymore. You died once.
Back to watching my position 4s.
So, I mean, he said himself, like, what, in the first 3 games, he died once, I think he said?
Maybe. I mean, maybe once. I would have to go in and look again, but it couldn't be. You don't have a 98 KDA with dying twice.
Fair enough.
Like,
that's insane. That, I mean, just to think about that as well. In 3 games, he got a 98 KDA. That means at least 30 assists or kills.
So here's what his first game. He played
more than 30.
He went 17, 1, and 14 on sniper.
Oh god.
This is also against Balerian All Blacks, who, for those who are 82 listeners, is made up of Kira, Herbie, Frodo, Stanny, and Naya. Though there was a stand-in for Naya in this series, but the second game he goes 11, 0, and 14 on the Monkey King.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Where is his next one? The guy was just literally popping off. And here we go. Here's the third game that he played. He goes 13, 0, and 12 on Lifestealer.
So did any play is overall play, or did any like particular play he made during those 3 games impress you?
Oh, his Monkey King was nuts. Like there's just some plays like Monkey King can be a very flashy hero, like going through the trees, obviously. But there's just some escapes that he made that were just unbelievable, or like positioning in general. Like it felt like every time he once again, I'm a legend player. When my Monkey King's ult, you're lucky if anyone stays in it for more than a second, or if there's ever one person in it ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This guy was catching 4 to 5 every time he ulted in the ult for like a duration. Now, granted, there's also the team aspect, and like he would have like heroes in this lineup that would hold people in there, but catching 4 and keep them in like a monkey ult for that long period of time, like to me, that's impressive. Your positioning has to be great.
I'm with it.
Yeah, it was just watching him was just impressive.
I'm with it. So let's get Jamo's side of this now. So Jamo, favorite moment out of the opens? Anyone that you watched that you were just kind of blown away by?
It was actually more of a lobby comment, if anything.
Ooh. Drama, sauce, give it to us.
People commenting in your lobbies, no one ever talks around me.
I actually, okay, my first oopsie that I made was I forgot I had messages from non-friends muted and that aren't on my team, and so I had the lobby actually muted. It took me like 15 minutes to realize that. I was like, man, no one's saying anything. This is kind of weird. But past that, not gonna say who, but let's just say one team said, I reminded people of the GG rule that once you call GG, the game's done.
I'm glad that rule exists.
Oh man,
you can't.
I love this.
GG. And then a player on said team said, "Don't worry, we won't need to GG. We won't be calling it."
Very ballsy.
And then the very next map lost and called GG.
So even about 37 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, about 37 minutes. That does sound very accurate.
You can just hear the na 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 na. Oh god, that sucks.
It was great.
Curb your enthusiasm, boys. Curb your enthusiasm.
34 minutes and 11 seconds. With
it was about 34 minutes and 11 seconds. Yeah, but again, not to say specifics, but it could have been the offlaner for that team that lost that match. But truly a funny moment. But as for watching, truth be told, kind of been flying solo a lot of these days. So haven't had too much time to just sit and enjoy the Dota, as there's a million things going on in the background that all falls on my shoulders at a certain point.
Like some people have.
Brother, I was not sitting and enjoying anything. For those, because we're going to reference this, and obviously you heard my awful laugh. I got the flu, and I couldn't get out of bed. Like, I got out of bed for one series, and I was like, I feel like death. I need to lay down for 30 minutes. and had somebody cover for me. And at least I did that. At least I made sure I got my shit covered. And I woke up and I couldn't get out of bed. I was so sick. I've been puking. I've been like just absolute death for like the last 2 days. Now I did cover the shit that I was supposed to like last night, but yeah, JMO is flying solo there on Sunday.
And just because in the Discord,
Saturday ran great though. By the way, Saturday was great.
Was it?
There was nothing that went wrong on Saturday. That was the first day. Everything went great. Like, I think the only issue that we had was we had a caster that canceled all of his series, and I think I was up till like 2 or 3 a.m. like trying to find somebody.
Yes,
that's
right. And we did.
Which was cool because we got somebody who's actually a Beyond the Summit caster, or used to be.
Yeah, that was pretty
so good. Yeah, which is really cool. And the guy is a great dude. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's Party Pete. You can find it in our Discord on the information hub, has his link and all that. But he was phenomenal. He is really, really nice guy, like really excited to do it and just amped. So but yeah, that's what I'm referring to. I was sick and it couldn't be a worse time.
I mean, I'm glad to hear that there's been that while there has been some downs, obviously, and there's also been ups, and I think that overall it's still memories and good memories at that. Of even when things go wrong, things seemed pretty cool on the surface. So, any big mistakes you think you guys made through?
Oh, I want to do one more.
By all means, you may do one more.
And JMO would appreciate this too. So speaking of casters, just all of a sudden leaving. So Scurvy Dog, you guys who are now longtime listeners of the cast, we did a podcast with him and his kind of take on like the team aspect and like psychology of Dota. Well, he does casting too, and he filled in and he's done a great job for us. Took a whole bunch of casts for us. And during one of the games, I'm sitting there, I'm feeling kind of sick, and it's late and all this stuff, and he just starts screaming, dude. In the it was the whatever in Royal Star game 2. Royal Star starts like coming back from this ridiculous deficit, and he is getting so damn hype. I'm going nuts listening to him. JMO's having a good time.
Yeah, because I'm like monitoring all the casts. So like in my ears, I have like 10 different casters just talking stuff, and then all of a sudden someone starts just yelling, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like flipping through, trying to figure out where the source is. And yeah, no, it was nuts. It was nuts.
And it's just Scurvy Dog capping out your mic or capping out your headphones.
Dude, it was basically fucking the hype cast. Oh, so much fun. He's gonna be back for the main event as well. So
I gotta go back and watch that game. Oh, that sounds like so much fun.
Oh, that series was great. Like they're both really, really good teams. And like Jamoka was saying beforehand, like Royal Star, even though they got third in the groups, they play really far up.
They punch up like crazy.
Whew. And they're fun.
Everybody loves an underdog, and everybody loves someone who punches up, dude. I'm telling you. So let's frame the question I asked a little bit differently. So you've had your experience with the groups in Open Phage. Obviously, the event isn't over, but we're talking from the trenches here. So looking back now on how that tournament's gone so far, if you were to redo it, is there anything you guys would do differently?
Not get sick.
6 times as many casters.
6 times as many lobby admins.
6 times. Any particular reason for that number?
Two more main admins.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we were kind of the first one went so smooth. Like the first tournament that we did back in July. And it was very, very small scale. Like the only lobby admins I think other than once that we needed, like I think Kino filled in for us once.
I think so, yes.
But everything ran smooth. Me and Jamokin ran every single lobby between both of us. I didn't get sick, so that was cool. And everything just kind of worked out great. I think it was a good experience. Some people were shook, like, about how good some of the teams were. Like, Complaints were very minimal or silly even then, like some of them. But the scale of things here between the two tournaments is like, how did you put that earlier, Jabo?
It's like an elite, like the first tournament was just like, you're just killing like a regular mob, and then this tournament is like a boss.
Yeah,
and it's like, holy crap. Like it's the same beast, but he's just bigger.
I did
It's
love
like
the way
Papa
you
Bear.
put that. Yeah, it's the same beast, just 10 times bigger. I think was what the exact quote you said.
Which I don't think's bad. Like I think the way that we progress this, like I wouldn't want to revert back at all. Like,
oh, of course.
But we notice some things when the scale gets bigger and we have more people involved. There's going to be like the more people, the more issues that can arise. Like just more variables per se.
Yeah,
and when we went into this and I said, here's our casters. The first thing that me and Jamokin thought was like, holy shit, we have a lot of casters.
Yeah, I thought you overgrabbed casters.
I think we added 5 or 6 since then, like throughout the tournament, of people that have just kind of been on call for us. So yeah, just having like the people in their back pockets that are ready to go if we need, if things come around, like
yeah, no, I'm with you.
Come around. We had same thing with lobby admins. Like me getting sick was not good for us. Like it just wasn't.
So let me just for 1 second say that this is a lesson we learned a lot when we did in-houses as well, isn't it? Like we couldn't count everyone to show up even if they said they were going to, and we needed to have backups for everything. I feel like the bigger this gets, exponentially the more backups you need.
Right. And it's a time commitment, and it's hard because like people don't get paid and they don't like feel committed. It is things like that. And like that's the important things. Like me and Jamokin don't get paid.
We lose money.
I
go backwards on this event.
Yeah, by a lot.
Full stop.
By a lot.
Like, lose money. I hemorrhage money to put on an event for people.
Yeah. And it's it's hard. Like we were kind of, I don't want to say shook, but because we didn't figure it out. Like shook to me feels like, oh, well, you're just fucking white and you can't do anything about it. Like we figured out every single one of our issues and we have fixed it every single time in really, really timely fashion. So just unexpected things that occur, and I feel like more lobby admins and more casters, and it's really just a shit that like nobody sees when tournament starts. It's hard to appreciate that kind of stuff.
Oh, for sure. Well, there's things that I think a lot of people don't appreciate. Like one thing that I would love to just shout out really quickly that you figured out, Greco of all people, is first off, Liquipedia pages don't just appear, right? Like one of the coolest things you showed me is that Liquipedia. This is an official Liquipedia registered tournament, right?
No.
Sorry.
Not yet. So here, there's a huge process of going on, like Liquipedia. So you have to be notable to actually be placed on the website. So you have like user pages and stuff like that, which we're working on. And there's a process of like trying to get notable. It depends on who's casting, who's playing, how big is your tournament, how many how many people are participating, how much viewership are you getting, do you have websites, do you have rules?
I'm with it. So you're not there yet, but this tournament, the way this tournament's going, it's going to. But I just wanted to shout out really quickly.
Yeah,
I wanted to shout out really quickly. Yeah, but I wanted to make a point of saying that Greco, you've gone ahead and actually learned how to program a Wikipedia page, which it's not like squared space, drag, drop, and do shit, right? You actually had to learn how to program all of the stuff on the page. I had to learn how to
basically code, and I had no experience. That was fun.
Yeah, but you did that for the sake of having a professional looking page that and you even included it's not just match results and shit. That could be like the lazy route. You included the heroes, the Dota buff links to the matches, all the info is there. It actually looks like a very professional page. For anybody who hasn't seen it, or I think you're still able to see it, it looks fantastic, honestly.
Appreciate that, buddy.
You're good.
We're working on it. We're getting there. There's still some issues that my knowledge has to increase a bit on, but
I think everyone can be a little understanding of the fact that you two are putting on, first off, the second PSGS tournament ever, and the fact that the scale has gotten so much bigger by itself and you guys have managed to make it run as smoothly as it has to be recognized in some form. Like, I don't think anybody would not say that, given that you have 2 admins running this whole fucking operation, this has gone phenomenally. So far.
Okay, well, I just want to shout out my boy Frost. He like
Frost, dude. Our HR
Frost ain't got nothing.
Our HR department. He's insane. You have a complaint, go to him.
Them all. Yep.
He handles everything.
That's funny, man. You guys were talking a lot of shit about Frost for this podcast, but all right.
Never once have we ever talked.
Never,
shit
yes,
Frost.
never.
Only on Connor.
Fair point.
Only on Connor. He's a plink. Frost, he's an OG, man. He's an OG.
In all reality, Connor's come up huge. Like, he's taken on caster role and lobby admin role, and has been there for like a lot of the admin work. Like, dude is putting in a shit ton of work. He was the guy that bailed me out when I got sick, so it was great for him to be on standby and helping out there. And his casts have been phenomenal too. He's actually, what were we looking? The guy.
He brings the clowns, man. Clowns attract clowns.
He had more viewers than our BTS guy.
He definitely pulled the crap.
Yeah.
So let's try to make sure you guys aren't like Valve, I think, here, where you just kind of don't respond to anything and are anonymous. So, like, what would you say are like the fairest and biggest criticisms that you've received over the course of the tournament so far?
You want to go with me?
Oh, where's Frost at?
Yeah,
get him in here.
So here, the biggest one that we've had is, and going to be transparent with this, is our scheduling time. So the way that we have set, and we recognize this, and I feel like maybe they don't realize that we're actually looking at this and submitting feedback. Like, we got a whole document of feedback.
Yeah, no, the feedback sheet.
Which is why our tournament is like this versus last time, is because we take everyone's feedback, we look at it, what can we do about each individual one, but our game times. So in our rules, a lot of places, and reading's hard, I get it, but like, it states as soon as one series is done, you'll have a 15-minute, there'll be a 15-minute break between series. And then the next series will immediately start, regardless of whatever that time is. You need to be ready. And we remind, be ready 30 to 45 minutes early. Like, we baby our teams, man. Like, we baby them. And then we say you got 15 minutes in between games, and then your grace period of 15 minutes to arrive in lobby and be in your voice channels before forfeit happens. The problem that we had was teams who were only playing one day. They would see their game time, they would ignore it. They ignore everything else in the tournament. So when a team is ready to go, or like a series finishes and these guys are like rushing, trying to get all their team there because they're not ready 30, 45 minutes early, that's probably our biggest complaint. So we're in the process, even talking today, we were talking about how can we fix this for the future? Is there adjustments we can make mid-tournament going into the main event? I think we've got a good plan. Yay, day, JMO? I think so.
It's a hard plan. It really puts a lot of stress on us as TOs, tournament organizers. Because the biggest worry about like sticking strictly to the schedule is if, you know, a best of 3 ends in a best of 2 fast, suddenly you have all this dead airtime, and, you know, as a TO, you don't want to hemorrhage the viewers you have, so you have to find ways to keep people entertained so that they continue to watch the event and don't go watch.
Man, you guys need a Slacks, you know that.
Amaranth.
You need a Slacks. You need somebody who does crowd work and just embarrasses himself in front of people. I'll tell you right now, I'm very capable of that.
I'm going to call out our guy. True. I'm gonna shout out our guy in the general chat, that like the hype man. I don't know who you are.
This guy.
This dude in chat.
You're an OG.
A dude in chat was your hype man. I want to hear this.
I'm all right. So you're not just going to hear it. You're going to read this, or not read, but I'm going to read this post.
Oh, please.
That this man sent. Like, it's phenomenal. I think this was the
weeks out. He's been getting pumped. The pinnacle of Dota 2 events. TI will take notes. But read the good one. Read the good one.
Oh, I'm trying to find it. We don't have a lot of people in our general chat, so it can't be too far down. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Okay. So this is the day, or this is right before our open qualifiers. I think like 5 hours before they started. The PSGS Invitational will take the amateur Dota 2 scene by storm. No one will deny the professionalism, the work put forth, and the dedication shown by the cast and crew for this monumentous event. However, what of the players? What of those willing and able to compete amongst the best of the best? Well, my friend, the competition is growing more fierce by the moment. Who will prove themselves superior to the others? Who will take the top prize? Who will show that they deserve more? When the stakes are at their highest and the pressure is on, who will be that diamond in the rough that makes the final push to greatness? To some, PSGS is merely another tourney, but the players, owners, coaches, and staff alike, this is no mere tourney. This is the PSGS Invitational. When you think of greatness, you think of players like No-Tail, Puppy, Dindy, S4, and many others. Their journeys began somewhere, and it is time for your journey to begin just as theirs. Prove your might or be stomped. That choice is yours to make.
No idea who this person is. None.
No fucking clue.
As far as we know, they have some affiliation to the Empyrean Eagles I played, but that is it. I don't know. But that's like, we get you. You can be our Slacks. They can be the Casey. Like, it's perfect.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean,
we'll shit. Get you guys at the LAN event?
He's the damn announcer announcing the games.
Oh, what the?
Or she? I don't know. No one knows.
Don't assume gender.
No
idea.
No clue. No clue.
Only Jamokin assumes genders, not me.
That's true. I do assume.
So let me ask this really quickly, because this is something that kind of occurred to me. I mean, obviously, you're exactly right. And I'm willing to say that I'd be one of the captains who, like, tell me my game time, didn't read entirety of the book you guys put together. Like, I mean, like, I'm not shitting on it. You guys put together a thorough and very well explained info page for everybody who's involved in the event to get into. Like, it's the information hub, which is a massive Google Sheets document you guys put together with classifications and sheets for each individual part of the event and explaining it in good detail. But do you feel like you guys should have maybe a town hall with a team representative of each team to, like, just go over the really important shit?
Like a captain's meeting?
Basically, yeah. I mean, that's how we always, it seems to me like that was how we always explained things the best in Pot of Sins, was that we communicated to captains, and captains could be guaranteed to represent their team.
Opens feedback channel.
I'm literally typing in feedback channel right now.
It's definitely something we can do. We tried our best to follow the precedents set forth by, obviously a lot of our rules and our notes are from PGL. We have rules taken from TI, a lot of stuff of that nature. And of course, we know the information hub is dense, but anybody know off heart the first line in the rules?
The rule set for the PSGS tournament?
I do.
You do? Okay. Wait.
I honestly, I couldn't tell you by heart or by what's the word. But
oh my god, the Jamokin quote of the day, dude.
It would be ignorance of the rules is not our problem, or something along those lines.
No.
Ignorance of the rules is no defense. Not understanding the rules is no defense. This is your time to ask questions on the rule.
Yes.
That is the three tenets. That is the three tenets of the Jamokin way. I swear to you.
Here's the thing that I need. I need an update from Discord that bolds a fucking thing, and I can change the font size to be triple everything else, so I can stop putting hashtag information hub to different people to say, just read the document.
I have to say, our Discord server is a lot better than it was the first time around with the layout and the changes. Like, I've looked at, like,
I don't know how the hell we did anything on the first one with the way
it was everywhere. I mean, to be fair, I came up with the event. What was it, like a week before the event?
It was a couple weeks, but yeah, it wasn't.
It was all done last minute. So this time was a little more, planned out.
I remember I got dragged into it. I didn't even get a choice. I just kind of found myself.
That's actually
here.
true. You did.
He wrote me into this.
You just never showed up.
Oh,
Who, me?
yes.
Yeah, you're supposed to do our graphics in the first one.
Happy to not.
Remember?
Happy to not.
Happy to not.
Anyway. Well, dude, trust me, working with Jamokin on graphics is the worst fucking shit in the world. He's the most picky shit when it comes to everything. I'm just doing this here for... I'm doing it here. This man has the audacity when I give him a free logo to say, what am I paying you for? Like, the Lion, the Witch, and the audacity of this bitch.
I mean...
That's why when I was doing graphic stuff earlier, I didn't ask his opinion on him.
I just want excellence. That's what we strive for here.
And then who does he come to ask for help with the graphics?
I didn't know how to do it. Delegate.
I'm still
That's
here.
That's right,
dog.
baby.
Even in the background, I'm still here.
It's been tough. I actually had to put work in my own tournament. Usually I just
sit back and let me do everything. Yeah.
So let's do a history lesson for everybody. So what inspired the PSGS?
What does PSGS stand for?
No.
Okay.
What inspired the original PSGS Invitational? Like what kind of evil force took over your idea of like starting your own tournament, Jimbo, as well as like Greco? Because I know Greco helped you with the first one. Like, what made this idea?
Wasn't my idea. I just got brought in.
I was sitting in a lecture, bored out of my mind. I don't remember what lecture, but I was bored as hell, and I was like, "Man, I just want good Dota. Like, I just want to see some good Dota. I want to play in some good Dota. Played in that event that time around. I just want good Dota." And so, that was my attempt at creating some good Dota.
You wanted to create a place where good Dota was happening, essentially, like a safe space.
That was it. I just wanted good Dota somewhere.
And we kind of talked about it in between too, like when we got into this. There's this kind of gap right now between your T1, T2. We talked about this on the podcast. Like, you got T1, T2 Dota. And then you have like your amateur leagues of 82L that's starting to grow into the Immortal bracket. You have League of Lads that are getting in there, like that are pretty solidified, but still
they're like the most like established.
Yeah. Then you got like ME2L has like here and there. Like, there's no real tournaments that are this kind of targeted in NA. When you go to SA, holy shit!
Yeah.
Dude. They're everywhere, dude. Yeah.
Like, dude, you go EU, it's even more. Like, it's they're all over, but NA it doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
It's kind of
even like the Valkyrie Cup that was up. Like, that's not even this level of Dota. Like, it's like, as much as I appreciate like what the Valkyries do and all that stuff, and I think it's awesome. Like, they're hitting like 82L and what CW used to be and RD2L, like that level of play. But we want to hit that kind of spot that's been forgotten. That tier 4, tier 3 kind of aspect.
Like truly competitive Dota. That's not.
We want to watch good Dota too, man. Like, there's good Dota outside of like the DPC. And
it's true. You can find so much good Dota.
We're essentially running another like DPC qualifier. Like, it was the coolest thing was seeing our teams run on Sunday and like seeing them play. Like, some of them played on Friday, they played all day Saturday, they go on Sunday, and then seeing the results through the DPC and knowing like, oh, here's the teams that signed up. Fuck, 7 of them are in our tournament. Like, these teams are already playing against each other. Like, we're running literally DPC like qualifier, essentially.
Yeah. It's like it's like DPC qual scrims, you know? Like, they're just getting ready for the quals.
Ritman Mickey that had the awful draw of having to face C-Dub in the first round.
Yeah.
Oh, bad. Feels bad.
Unfortunate. But so, I mean, that's one of the things that I kind of felt too, watching some of the matches in the tournament, is that there's this homegrown pride, at least from my side. Like, maybe this is just a me feeling, but it's kind of like, you know, you can go and watch the Steelers play, and let's be honest with you, like, all of them are from all over the country, all these different schools, all these different places. And meanwhile, like I feel like a lot of the teams I'm watching now are like homegrown people I've watched and been talking to for years. Like it's been a really cool experience watching high level Dota from people that like I know or I've talked to or I've interacted with in some form. And I think that's a homegrown tournament grassroots kind of feeling you get that you don't get from DPC and things like that, right?
And I will say from like coming from the first event, like we have repeat players, some repeat teams and stuff. It is really cool to see them back and playing again. I think that is something that kind of caught me off guard and that really added to that like grassroots kind of feel. It's like, oh, they're back. I get to see them like try and run it back one more time.
So Buff Buddies, like they won the last tournament, and we came in and we were like, well, we're not really sure how they're going to do because they're like, as far as the group stages go, they're one of the lower in the MAR teams, and they're playing up, they're punching up, just like you said earlier, like they're playing really, really well. They unfortunately lost their tiebreaker to get into the upper bracket, but to a really, really good Grin Esports team. Like, in seeing them, and even half of Grin Esports is comeback players, some of them that are on Bolarian from the last one. It's cool. Like, it's cool to see these teams come back.
Oh, for sure.
And do well.
One thing I think we need to try and do better on next time, though, is communicating to any teams that might make the event that are kind of outliers. I feel like some teams weren't truly prepared for what no MMR cap meant and went into the tournament with false expectations that they were going to be able to perform well.
I really have to feel like that's a personal problem, not a you guys problem. I don't know how you don't see no MMR cap.
It becomes an our problem when teams don't
want to play. Exactly. Like we have the stats, but they don't necessarily have the stats. Everybody submitted us MMR screenshots, but they don't see that. We don't release that information. So like I can see that we have some teams that are, let's say, 5.5K. Well, when they're going up against an 8K team, like you're going to lose and you're not going to have fun. You most likely will not have fun in that game. And so when you're just like 800, 900 average MMR lower than the next lowest teams, I think we might need to do a better job just giving them the heads up that, hey, you know, you're trying to get into this event. I get it. You're more than welcome to play, but just know
the average MMR
you
is
are
like 7K.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, this is what the tournament's looking like. Because it
back on the feedback. Back on the feedback.
Back on the feedback. It does become our problem when teams don't want to play.
I mean, that's fair.
And it's a shame. Like, I feel bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, I get it. They should probably know, but like, I feel bad. You're playing in my event. I want you to have fun.
Of course. I mean, of course. Every tournament event. Yeah, every tournament event organizer wants their participants to have fun. All of them. Right?
When they have fun, everybody else has fun. The casters have more fun. Organizers definitely have more fun. And
especially the casters, right? Like casting a team just
casting a slaughter, stomped, yeah.
It's not fun.
It's hard.
It's very hard, especially if you're solo casting. Like we've got to get we got emergency casters to fill, but they're like, I don't have a co-caster.
Yeah,
and then if the game isn't very good, it's even
in the same sense. The first thing we tell them is try not to be biased. Basically, don't be a dick. Like, don't flame anybody. And it's hard when the game is very one-sided to not be biased. You know what I mean? But that's okay.
I feel like it's hard not to look at a burning house and say it's burning, right? Like it's hard to be positive of like, oh, it can be saved, the game can be saved. It's like, no, they've lost every fight, it's gone really downhill. And admittedly, like you said, it's demoralizing for everybody, right? Nobody likes watching a stomp.
Do you know what I mean? Ancient's still standing, there's a chance.
I mean, you're right there for sure. But commenting that like, oh, they've won the 7th fight in a row and they have a 70K gold lead. They can still get it back in this. Like, you know, it's just not happening, dog. And I'm 100% with you.
But I will say, moving into our main event, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Looking at the teams, how they performed, people were able to take games off most of the teams. Mimikyu is the only undefeated team. but we'll see how they clash since they are now crossing the groups over.
Maybe they did have a tough game against Grin too.
Watch them pull an EG, dude.
Not like they've been untouchable.
They could.
Oh man, speaking of Mimikyu, like I'm gonna, if you don't mind me going back.
Good.
You talked about impressive. I watched Mimikyu's carry hit 100 last hits in 10 minutes.
What?
On Naga Siren, 100 last hits in 10 minutes.
In the first 10 minutes.
I was having a game as Naga Siren today in a pub, and it was 4 minutes, and I looked and I had 10 last hits, and I was like, ooh, this is...
You would not make Mimikyu. You would not be on that team.
Not make Mimikyu. Not a Mimikyu material, dude.
But it's fun. It's so much fun just watching these players and just seeing this shit and being like, how? Like, how do you do this?
Just better.
Just fucking better.
So there's actually a question that's been on my mind that I would like to ask kind of both of you as well. So obviously we talked about like what you've done in response to the tournament getting bigger, but what kind of possessed you both to take a tournament that was like what it was the first time you guys did the Winter Invitational and make it like 5 times bigger this time? Like what led to that kind of coming about, and why did you guys do that? Like, is the best question I can ask. Like, do you
feedback? Literally feedback.
People just wanted more event
throughout the entire tournament. We will post, and even when we're designing the tournament, we will, on a document, list every single issue that we see and we hear and the arguments behind them. And then we will look at them and we will dissect them and we will figure out, okay, how can we, like, because somebody's clearly, if there's like, they're finding an issue, like, unless it's something like last tournament, I can't even say that. Like, no matter how big the issue, there's got to be a reasoning behind it. Why are they unhappy? And no one's ever going to be completely happy, but there's things that we can do and adjust in order to like make it flow better. For example, last tournament, one of the biggest issues that they had was, well, we paid the entry fee, but we only got to play like one game in the tournament. Well, it was a single elimination, just 8-man bracket tournament. It's, you lose the first round, you're out. Okay, how do we make it so that they get more games? Okay, we got to think about that. Now, somebody also was curious, why is the number 1 seed playing the 8 seed? Well, other than this is how it is in every single tournament, and you shouldn't put a number 1 versus number 2, like for sake of competition, because you want your best game to be your grand finals, not your first round. You, like, how do we get it so that people are a little happier and more understanding with why we're ranking people and they're matched up in certain ways? Well, along the lines of, I think another complaint was, well, MMR is just a number, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Well, if we put everyone into a group stage and we have a round robin and seed off the results on that, that solves all 3 of those issues immediately. So it just grows based on that and what is the feedback we're getting from the previous tournament, and how can we build in order to basically create the best product we possibly can.
So the long story short of it being is that you guys basically heard people wanted more games, which means the tournament just needs to be bigger. That's just the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, the people wanted more, you gave them more, essentially, is the kind of summary there.
Yeah.
That's awesome, guys. I mean, honestly,
what they want.
You gave the people what they wanted, and they seem to be loving it. I mean, I've heard nothing but great things about the tournament so far from everyone who has also been watching it. So I think we're going to wrap up here pretty soon here. But before we do, we have one sidebar. Jamoka, what's happening on the 16th of this month?
Oh, let me tell you, and it could be the PSGS Invitational because there are games, but what is more important and what you should be focusing on that is not the PSGS Invitational because it's truly just fucking better is Dark and Darker playtest.
Dark and Darker.
It's back, baby.
Let's go. Extended time, 1 week.
I am not going to be doing anything for the tournament. Don't ask the admin questions. Don't wonder where your lobby admin is. They ain't around, baby. They play Dark and Darker. Figure it out. I'm in the dungeon.
Can't
You
confirm.
need a question. You need a question. Meet me in the dungeon.
Oh,
Yeah, like straight up. Honestly, we might just finish the tournament in Dark and Darker.
I'll see you deep.
this the last round transitions to a Dark and Darker tournament.
The main event is just a Dark and Darker tournament. Bamboozled.
Next to the Lich.
Next to the Lich. Let's go.
Oh, dude. So, for anybody who's not aware, and obviously we've talked about this multiple times in the podcast, there's an amazing game called Dark and Darker that's in development that's coming out very soon, I think. But they're doing another alpha this weekend, and it's going to last for like an extra week and a half, right?
Till the 23rd.
Like that.
Till the 23rd. So
16th
if anybody wants to see a really fun game and give it a try, if heard us gush over it in this last podcast, see you in the dungeon in this. What is it? What would you call it? A battle royale dungeon game, with some Tarkov elements to it.
It's a Dark and Darker game. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Do your own research, assholes.
Yeah,
but I think that's it for us tonight, though, guys. It's been a fucking blast talking to you two about it, and I think we'll be doing another one of these most definitely post tournament.
Yeah. See you in the dungeon, nerds.
See you in the dungeon.
See you in the dungeon.